I'm the Public Historian in Residence at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Center for the Humanities at Rutgers, Camden. And welcome to the Public Historian at Home. Hi, welcome to the Public Historian at Home. Today we're going to be talking about preserving historic lawns and gardens. One of my jobs at Rutgers Camden is to direct a continuing education program in historic preservation. And if you're not familiar with historic preservation, that's fine. We're going to be talking a lot about it over the next couple episodes. It can take a lot of different forms. It could mean simply living in a historic house like ours, built in 1916 in Riverton, New Jersey. Or it could mean collaborating with your local historical society to put up an interpretive sign about an important event that happened in your town 100 years ago or perhaps 150 years ago. I'm really looking forward to sharing some insights with you about doing research on historic houses. I'm lucky enough to be working at home during the coronavirus pandemic, so because I don't have a commute, that has given me a little bit more time to work on restoring our house. Today we're focusing on the outside of the house, and more specifically, we're talking about our lawn and garden. Have you ever wondered how to do some research on what the outside of your house looked like when it was first built? Well, we usually use primary sources to try to figure that out, and primary sources are things like letters and photographs made in the time period. The only problem is that with our house, we don't actually have any photographs from when it was built in 1916 to give us a sense of what it looked like outside. So we're going to use other sources like magazines and other photographs from our town to try to get a better sense of what this lawn and garden might have looked like.
One of the first places I went looking for images of Riverton was the Burlington County Library's digitized collection of historic postcards. You can visit that website at postcard.burlco.org. There's a list of municipalities in the area, including Riverton, so I clicked on Riverton, and this postcard of a road in town called Highway is the one that I'm showing you here today. And quite frankly, the aesthetics of the town haven't changed a whole lot since around the time this postcard was made around 1912. We still have lots of tall trees lining the streets, green grass in the front yard, and some ornamental plants. Lots of people collect these postcards, and one way that you can do that is by saving a search for your municipality and the state and postcard on eBay. That's a great way to start a small collection of images of where you live.
If we were living here in the 19 teens and 20s, there would have been a number of considerations to keep in mind when deciding what to plant in our front yard, in our backyard, and on the side of our house.
Shortly after our house was built in 1916, the United States got involved in World War I. So some people probably gardened with World War I and food shortages in mind. During the war, the United States government issued posters like this one. This one is in the collection of the Library of Congress and is digitized for you to check out online at loc.gov. The poster encouraged ordinary people to fulfill their food needs with their own gardens so the government could send more food overseas where there was a need. Now, concern for the food supply should resonate with us too. In fact, the New York Times recently reported that there is an uptick in Americans planting fruits and vegetables due to concerns over the viability of the modern food supply and its relationship to the current coronavirus pandemic. Other people with a house like ours might have worked on their lawn or garden as a hobby. We could have looked to our neighbors for ideas, or we might have turned to magazines like House and Garden, the Garden Magazine, or if you were out west, the Sunset Magazine, for inspiration. Here we're looking at a page from the July 1916 edition of the Garden Magazine. The original is in the collection at the University of California and made available to you online through the Haythey Trust at catalog.hathitrust.org. On their website, you can look at the entire issue of this particular magazine, and this page is showing us a garden beautification campaign in Rochester, New York. Rochester is not Riverton, but a lot of these houses are similar to the ones in town here, and so this gives you a sense of some ways that people in other parts of the country were decorating their lawns and gardens. In 1916, we might have also gotten some inspiration from seed catalogs. This is one from Rutherford, New Jersey. It is also digitized and freely available for you to check out online through the Biodiversity Heritage Library. So that's biodiversitylibrary.org.
In 1916, when we were ready to do some planting, we could have walked just 5 minutes down the street to W.F. Beckers. Beckers was in the building that's behind me here. I learned about it when I was going through some digitized historic newspapers at our Historical Society's website. Currently, the building is occupied by our favorite Mexican restaurant. You can see that it retains some of those great big windows that would have been perfect for displaying whatever goods were for sale on a particular day.
Also, while I was going through those digitized newspapers at the Historical Society, I ran into another advertisement for a company called Dreer's. And Dreer's was a very large nursery that was based in Riverton, New Jersey. You can look through a number of their catalogs, again, digitized through the Biodiversity Library. They had a storefront in Philadelphia, but they advertised locally, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could get their products locally as well.
Now we're looking at our front lawn. We actually haven't done a lot of work on our front lawn yet, so I'm actually going to take you to the back to show you what we've been working on. Now, as I explained earlier, we don't really know a whole lot about what our house looked like in 1916, so we've been using the stuff that was already here when we moved in. In fact, we have a lot of historic plants here because the last person who lived here for 40 years. So let me show you some of the things that she left behind. We have, for example, a number of rose bushes like this one. So we've been working with what was here when we moved in, and we've been adding to it stuff that we're really interested in cultivating, like these asparagus plants and these raspberry bushes in the back. Now, of course, whenever you're talking about historic preservation, especially when it relates to your own home, there are a lot of things that go into the decisions you make about what you want to do with, for example, your lawn or your garden. How much money you have, your personal taste, what's already here, and what you can find out about the history of the house itself. We talked about a lot of those primary sources that you can investigate on your own, and you should also consider giving your local historical society a call. They might have some great sources available for you to go through. And if you have any questions, I'm also happy to try to answer them for you. So thanks so much for joining me for this first episode of The Public Historian at Home.